Welcome to Counselor's Smile TV. Today we are going to discuss a very important issue. Sickle cell, another lab test needed before marriage. We have three guests to talk about this issue. On my right is Dr. Michael Jemfi. Doctor, give them a wave.
Hello.
And on my immediate left is Mrs. Prudence Apian Cancer, counselor and a teacher at Frobel Educational Center. Madam.
Hi.
On my far left is a lab scientist, Mark Owusu-Ajayi.
Hello.
Be all ears as we discuss this all-important topic. Don't forget, say assembly sebia ubetimi a typo and I say yes, what type on wall. There's a comment section or Facebook and now say YouTube comment section how betimi I put you any question up there. We address your question appropriately. You ding the tea the episode. Let's start with the lady on my left, Mrs. Prudence Apian Cancer. Madam, welcome again.
Thank you.
Did you do any lab tests before marriage?
I didn't. I think years ago, probably people didn't find it that important, but I know that these days, most churches would require the would-be couple to go for tests, which is important anyway.
So the reason why you didn't go for those tests is that it was not a requirement at your church in those days.
At that time, yes, it wasn't a requirement.
Oh, okay. So when you had you heard about sickle cell and other diseases before you married?
Yes.
Weren't you afraid that after marriage you could give birth to children who were not strong?
Well, at least I knew what I was, and my husband also knew his type, so that was okay.
That means you knew, even though you did not go for a checkup together, but you knew your status.
Yes, we both knew.
Okay. Dr. Mark, let me come to you. What is sickle cell?
Okay, thank you very much. Sickle cell is an inherited red cell disease. That means that people do not come on earth to take it from here. They inherit it from either of their parents, either the mother or the father. And if I should go deep, the red cell, we have a specific type of shape that a red cell is supposed to look like. So when you typically look at a red cell from a microscope or even from a picture, you see that it looks like a dumbbell. But these sickle cells that we are talking about today, they don't look like the normal red cell shape. They look like a crescent shape, like a crescent moon shape in the form of, I don't know if we are aware of this. Some of us who knew a little bit about farming, there's a farming tool which is carved in a way like a C. It's called a sickle. The name sickle cell actually was derived from that farming tool called a sickle. So the sickle cells, they do not have the normal.
I is a half moon.
Very good. Only need normal red cell shape, no, almost cell, no, because almost abnormal hemoglobin, you know, almost red cell shape, no. I in a crescent form, like a crescent moon. I say moon, half moon. This a young crane say Maria Yesu Edan and answer. Say moon no yet tiansa. It is a red sickle cell is it here. And no a red cell name a neat normal shape. It's a normal red blood cell at here.
Okay. What a cell a sickle cell is, but you more hold on and I said sickle cell no better than me who said me will be an army.
Okay. The ten say sickle cell no so person who say will be and I say we need ya. And no baba lab oba ye betwe mogya etwe mogya ye be fa mfidie mi ehu se wo sickle cell ni bia edi kan as a lab scientist no me de be fa mfidie mu mfidie fe na microscope na me hu red cell no wase so me hu red cell a ana se me hu red blood cell a the shape na kwa se farming tool sickle na make ho asem na ma hu se wo sickle cell ni bi na sickle cell no ye wo mienu se me hu se microscope na se me hu se wo sickle cell a honom na mintimi njampo nka se wo sickle cell disease ni bi metimi aka se wo sickle cell hemoglobin type ni bi
Okay.
but sickle cell no ye wo mienu one sickle cell disease obi a ne hemoglobin ne sickle cell no amini kan cha de we mu ne enko se na bia ahwefo ne etiefo mo beti ase
Wenko.
obi a red cell na obi a wo no red cell na ewe emogya mu no ye protein bi ewo red cell no so ye fa ne hemoglobin na sa hemoglobin na ye mu types bebre for example ye hemoglobin F and ye fa ne fetal hemoglobin akra afi na ya wo no foforo no until so obi di be ekọ 1 year no na red cell no hemoglobin ye wo mu dodo no about 60% to 80% hemoglobin F no
Okay.
na wo di 1 year ekọ na de copy wo mpanyin fie so na F no achase die off na ma hemoglobin fa ne hemoglobin A stands for adult hemoglobin na eno so achase aba nti na be wo system mu a wo di benyini na emu se de misi kan ka se sickle cell no so eno so ni hemoglobin fa ne hemoglobin S na eno no medical ka se ye mass asisu na be fa ya de ye fa free ye patient ye parents or abro mo wo ye amenko deep kakra sa hemoglobin na ye protein na protein bia ne backbone bia ye DNA wo DNA na contain genes no ti wo genes na code for either hemoglobin F hemoglobin A or S or C until if there's a mistake bia during the coding na you find genetic mutation mistakes in genetic coding you find genetic mutation when there is a mutation and the cause say either say if I say ka a forming hemoglobin A because of mutation mistake na ba coding munti na ba hemoglobin S
Okay.
ndi say o maami wo bi na say papa nso wo bi a oti anye ye if I say o maami ye o de ebedu honom no
During the formation, no. During the formation in the womb, Budana. And na mistake it me cause one answer.
sa kwan a obi timi nya sa hemoglobin S no wɔ ne blood mu no ɛno na yɛ mistakes in the genetics no
Okay.
e wo makra a woda yɛ ma wo de u parents ɛwɔ sa blood ne dada blood no obi bɛka sɛ red blood cell no sɛ hemoglobin ne wɔ red blood cell no mu dia adenti na ne akra na ya wo no ne papa amfa emogya direct ena de gun no mo de ne hunso ena gun ma de form nti ede na onya sa hemoglobin bi our blood ne so no ena mi di kan chere mu say hemoglobin e protein na ade e code for protein no genes the genes are found in the DNA nti be ma ne hunso no DNA ni wo mu bi nti eno na ekoba say so be ma ne wo sickle cell ni bi oni magyama etimi transfer de kwa akra no ho nti say minim say menka say wuti anye ya na o maame wo sickle cell trait ni bi na o papa nso wo sickle cell trait ni bi o ba pick one from each side obi a wo two of the variants nti obi o sickle cell pa no obi o sickle cell disease no usually ana o SS sickle cell hemoglobin S ni mienu na ye o ba kon so a ye frɛ no carrier ono de obewo sickle cell no direct na emom the sickle cell no so san so wo hemoglobin A na bi di kan na na normal hemoglobin nti although say or sickle cell ni bi woni mogyam the moment na say or hemoglobin papa na your friend A ni bi ni nti no e ma sickle cell yare no en develop e woni mu nti o me from traits and I say carriers or sickle cell red blood cells na your sickle ni bi e woni ni paduam the moment na say or hemoglobin A na no your papa ni bi e no so na ho oden e chen de enya papa S no nti nipa na be nam ho correct a wo hu say o yade ana ye obi so ho no ma e fan say ofa hemoglobin de enye papa na S no ofa free ni papa ho na o san so fa em fa se bia ne mama ne papa obi a ye career obi a wo S ni bi ne mom enshow ma hu se omo ye sickle cell for ndi na me se wo ho nti omo ne betimi afa S free papa no ho no afa S free mama no afa bu so be ba no no aye SS mi no afa papa sickle ene fa na sickle cell disease no enu nti na ho be hia pa se enka awarefo bia o mayo majo so mbe ware bia ko mon ko hospital mon ko lab ɔmo nkɔ test ni ehu obiara hemoglobin variant no sɛ yɛ A anaasɛ yɛ AS anaasɛ ASS sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ nkora na ɔmo bɛfiri aware yi mu aba no ɔmo nkɔfa yareɛ no bi na time bi a yɛnyɛ ne sɛ yɛma wɔdɔ ne other religious beliefs na di kan ansa na yɛde saa scientific findings wei no aba nyankopɔn na ma yɛ nimdeɛ a yɛtumi de anya saa nyankopɔn na bi yɛ adwuma ɛmɛhu saa nimdeɛ madam ka sɛ odi kan ka sɛ ɔmo time no na ɛnyɛ widely known saa sɛ yɛwɔ disease bi wɔ yɛfrɛ no sɛ nti mo bɛware a monkɔ yie sɛ ɛnɛ de nyankopɔn adom ama yɛ nimdeɛ a yɛtumi hu saa deɛ wei nyinaa nti wohyia aberanteɛ bi abɛɛma bi wo ne hyehyɛ aware a monkɔ lab na monkɔyɛ saa test wei nyinaa ne yɛhu sɛ mo nyinaa ɛnam hemoglobin a mowɔ no nti no akora a wobɛfiri mu aba biara no ɔnkɔ nkonya sickle cell disease.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mark. Let me go to Dr. Michael.
Yes.
Dr. Michael, you've heard our discussion. Sickle cell tests before marriage. If I have found a beautiful lady and I want to marry, and I promise my lady, no matter what, I will die with you. Na me nua no na me kwakwa without going through test ya Mark Akenya dear na me nua as a doctor as a ben na obeka kire me.
Okay, me that's a pan. So my brother mentioned a lot about how we get it and everything, but I want to paint a picture about how the disease actually affects our health.
Okay.
Because if you know how it affects our health, then you wouldn't be just going blindly or ignorantly about the whole situation.
Don't edit me too.
Yes. So I understand. But so let me paint a picture about how the sickle cell disease affects the life of those who are suffering from it. Then I can continue from there. So when someone gets the SS or other variants like SC, then they become sickless. So in those circumstances, there are so many problems they suffer from. First of all, when it happens in that way, he mentioned that the red blood cells become sickled. And it's usually due to certain factors. It's not always that they become sickled. Sometimes when there is low oxygen amount in our body, do you get it? When it happens that way, then it causes the hemoglobin he mentioned to become stacked. So when they stack, then they will distort the shape of the red blood cells. So when it happens, then they form the sickle nature of the red blood cells.
The half moon star.
Yes. So when it happens that way, there problems that can arise from it. First of all, these red blood cells that have been formed are very fragile. They are weak. So they can easily break and hemolyze. They can break down. So when it happens, then the red blood cells break down, then they become anemic because there is so much distraction of their red blood cells. You get it? So they become anemic and suffer from sickle cell anemia. Beside that condition, there are other far worse consequence of this sickle cell disease. Do you get it? So also this stacked red blood cells, they block blood vessels, or should I say tracts that carries blood to various parts of our body. So when they block them, especially small blood vessels, when they block them, then a whole lot of health complications can arise. For instance, when it happens, this blockage happens in our brain, they can suffer stroke, they can have convulsions, seizures, and even the children or the people who are suffering from will perform poorly in academic work. So considering this is not something we should overlook, because why are we marrying? We want to marry because we want to be happy and establish have good children and healthy children. But if you are looking the way forward, we should also consider this, that it's a very serious situation. So besides that's happening in our brain, sometimes too it can, the worst thing is that they can also have pain. They have pains like very severe. I don't know how I should describe the pain for you, but like it's a very worst pain that you can even think of, that anybody could think of. And they are constantly supposed to be on drugs to be able to cope with this pain. So if the child is having, if you marry and you have children who are suffering from this, it affects their academic, it affects their health, and they are unhappy. They have so much pain that is stress. And sometimes I did mention that they can get anemia. Sometimes their blood level is very, very low. It goes too low that they need to be transfused with blood. Do you get it? They need to be given a lot of blood. No, it's not something that you should just ignore.
If you ignore and you enter into this marriage and you give birth to these kids, you make them suffer a lot.
Yes.
On earth.
Yes.
And you're doing. Mom and papa so many are doing now. Doc, you are a Christian.
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Okay, I am also a pastor.
Okay.
I believe in prayers. I believe in miracles. So me digidie gina ho. Kasa ampa makocheke. Lady or SS, me SS. But by faith, you are a young SS.
Also lady no SS.
Oh yeah, SS, yeah. Me SS.
Okay.
But by faith, you have to worry. Yeah, them paibo. Enti mean she said you be wo our bra mano enkoye SS. Koye Sickle.
Yo. We dey say ye dey abodiem nyansape na science etoto ho a. Say the minwa ne di kan ka say jeans no. Ye pass awofo e de mom ma no. Because ha jeans ya na ye de mama emofra no emomunyi say de jeans no express no. Inti say mumienu ye SS dia. Ekwan bia ni ho. Mesa sesu biem. Ekwan bia ni ho a ubetimi awo abofra onya SS ni bi. Se nkai bia mo ye AS anase AS dia. Ende nkai bia ye betimi anya chance say ebi mu enya SS ni bi. But se mumienu nko aye SS nko ade a ekwan bia ni ho. Ewo abodiem science mu no. Ekwan bia ni ho so say abofra no enya SS. Eden a abofra no ebe SS. Ama sansunsan so aye di kan bobo so ye bia ye.
Okay. Madam, we are counselor. Na obi aba ho say ono de the doctor can onye say na odidi. Even though the doctor says, but I don't believe in what the doctor says. Yes, I've seen it. But by faith, I want to marry this man. The love of my life. We man counselor.
Let's look at it from two sides. Physically, you realize that if you do marry, then there's a likelihood that you're going to have the SS, especially if it's the two. Both of you are SS. If it's AS, that's a different story. So physically, it wouldn't be advisable. This is my own opinion anyway. I believe that before we marry, we need to see God's face. And God talks to us. At least as a Christian, you know when God is talking to you. And for me, personally, if I am convinced that God is telling me that I should marry the man, I would, by faith. But
irrespective of his status.
That's what I'm saying, by faith. Yes, that's my opinion. But I wouldn't encourage people to do that because everyone's faith is different. Let me just digress a bit. Some people go for a test and they realize they don't have a womb, or maybe the man is impotent. When you find out about that, it's important that you tell your partner. And maybe you tell the woman that, oh, this is the test that has come out, I'm impotent. What does the woman do? As a Christian, she could go in by faith. Means that there's no way. So physically, the physical side is there. But the spiritual side is also there. I believe, I repeat my personal opinion, if you are convinced that God is leading you, then go ahead. Otherwise, just go the physical way and then just part company. Yes.
Atiefo, mesan aba mo hɔ biom.